March. Very good. Call the March 6th meeting to order. Call the roll.
Abby Hansen. Here. John Hawkins.
Here.
Megan McFarland. Here. Matt McKinney.
Here.
Logan Welch.
Here. Call for a motion to approve the agenda. So move.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 1, petitions, communications and requests. This is the time of the meeting that a citizen may address the council on an agenda, on a matter not on the agenda. Except in cases of emergency, the city council will not take any action at this meeting, but may ask city staff to research the matter or have the matter placed on the agenda for a future meeting. We have the proclamation.
No.
Okay. I'll read the proclamation for the honeybee people. So whereas honeybees and native insects are important as pollinators for a third of the food we eat, honeybees are vital in production of over 90 crops grown across the nation, many of which are in Iowa. Honeybees contribute to a healthy Iowa environment by assuring the availability of fruits, vegetables, nuts, flowers for wildlife and all Iowans. And whereas Iowa's 45,000 or more honeybee hives produce about 4 million pounds of honey valued at over 8 million, and honeybees provide an estimated 92 million economic value to Iowa's crops from their pollination. And whereas Iowa has over 44,500 beekeepers representing hobbyists, sideliners as part-time small business and full-time commercial beekeepers. Beekeepers have as few as 1 to 2 hives and a single apiary to 100 apiaries with thousands of hives of individual commercial operations. And whereas traditionally beekeeping occurred in rural areas of Iowa, now beehives increasingly are urban areas with the rising interest of hobby beekeepers that keep honeybees in Iowa cities and towns. And whereas the state of Iowa has an active apiary program that provides honeybees and beekeepers are inspecting for apiary diseases and pests, as well as actively encouraging best beekeeping practices and outreach to individuals and beekeeping groups. Whereas honeybees face serious threats from invasive pests and diseases, decreasing bee-friendly habitat, variable climate, and pesticide and herbicide pressures. So therefore, I, John Hawkins, Mayor of Webster City, do hereby proclaim March 16th of 2023 as Iowa Honeybee Day and encourage all citizens, residents, and visitors to join in observing this day and focusing on the importance of the honeybees in our state economy, to enjoy the honey and other products of the hive, to recognize honeybees' role in maintaining our environment, and to assist in reducing the threats to honeybee survival in our state. Anything else? Be happy. Item 2, minutes, claims, reports and licenses. The following items have been deemed uncontroversial routine actions to be approved by the council in a single motion. If a council member or member of the audience wishes to have an item removed from this list, it will be considered on its normal sequence on the agenda. We've got item A, minutes of February 20th. B is a resolution on payroll for period ending February 25th and paid on March 3rd. C is a resolution on bills and approve the fund list. Recommend approval for issuance of beer and liquor licenses by the Iowa Department of Commerce for the following: Class C retail alcohol license, now includes Sunday sales, outdoor service, Hamilton County Exposition, Hamilton County Fairgrounds at 1200 Bluff Street.
Move to approve collectively.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. B is a resolution approving fire department work agreement for the 2023 to 26 and approving the execution of same by city manager.
So this is just an agreement extending the
fire department collective bargaining agreements by 3 years. Came to terms on the agreements. The 4% increase is slated in those next 3 fiscal years.
Okay. We have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
I'll do the public hearing, 6:05 PM, public hearing on a proposed offer to lease city-owned property at 1324 Short Street. I'll open the hearing. Are there any written objections?
Receive no written objections.
Are there any oral objections?
No oral objections presented.
I'll close the hearing.
This lease is essentially a continuation of the discussion we had at the last meeting regarding the Webster City Daycare's property. When we were going through the process of updating and doing a new agreement or new purchase agreement with the daycare staff, and Zach and I realized that the playground to the north of the daycare building was not originally included in the original 2004 lease. That'd be this parcel here. That entire parcel encompasses both the playground area, which is fenced off, the city's water tower, and to the east side is where part of their geothermal system, their underground fields or wells are located. And so the lease agreement is really a short-term fix while the city is working on dividing that parcel so that we separate the water tower, secure all the appropriate easements. But in the meantime, the lease will provide at least the protections for both the city and the daycare that should an incident or anything occur, the city is protected by the daycare's insurance policy. So.
Okay. A resolution authorizing execution of a lease business property for city-owned property located at 1324 Short Street, Webster City, Iowa, to Webster City Daycare Center.
I'll be abstaining from the vote because I'm on the daycare board.
Thank you, Megan.
I move to approve.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Okay. So C is a resolution authorising the street supervisor to request proposals for the removal and replacement of 300 foot of root-filled storm sewer pipe with dual wall tile and install a concrete manhole structure, and authorising the city manager to proceed with the lowest responsible bidder in the amount not to exceed 50,000 and make necessary budget amendments. You've been growing trees now.
I know,
Yeah.
trees and roots. I'm not good at sewers. Or worse than theory. So late last summer into the fall, we noticed some water pooling in the ditch at the intersection of River and Walnut. After further investigation, we had our HydroClean, our contractor, come in and camera the storm sewer. Come to find out, our 24-inch concrete pipe had lots of roots, and as you can see in the photos, that it actually takes up the entire pipe. So it just, there's no way water can get through there. It chokes it off. They weren't sure on how much was in there. They gave me an original budget of $29,000 to get rid of all the roots. Like in the memo, we spent roughly a little over $30,000, and we still weren't there. We had a lot to do still. So that's when I come off that let's reevaluate. I thought the best route to do was to continue to root cut and just get it all out of there. After getting the memo wrote, I thought, well, let's rethink this. Look outside the box. What happens if we, tear out the pipe and put all new pipe in? The pipe that is in right now, it's like in 3-foot sections. So there's a lot of joints. So that's where you're getting a lot of the roots in there. So after talking to a contractor, come to find out that for just about the same price, we can do 300 feet of dual wall tile and include a concrete manhole structure. So every 600 feet, you typically want a manhole structure for maintenance of this, whether it's storm or sanitary. As you can see in this line, there's a north and a south storm sewer line. The north one has a manhole, but the south one for some reason doesn't. So with replacing the pipe, we would also include a manhole structure there. In the memo, it also talks about, the $46,529. That is with a 6-foot manhole structure. If I go down to a 4-foot manhole structure, I can knock another 4,000 to 5,000 off of that. So that would actually be under what HydroClean gave us for an estimate for continuing and finishing the root cutting. So I think we're coming out ahead. That's why I'm recommending this. Roots are something. With that being said, if we were to root cut it, when it comes in, the 83,000 to slip line, we all know we can root cut it. Roots are all going to come back. So in order to get rid of it completely, we'd have to spend another 80-some thousand to slip line it to permanently get rid of it. So that's what I'm suggesting in this area, and hopefully kind of get us some more time, new pipe, but also get us a manhole structure that I think is going to be well used in the future.
Okay. Call for motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Brandon. Item D is a resolution authorizing city manager to sign and execute amendment number 26 with Snyder and Associates to provide additional professional services needed for a wastewater system study.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. So the item before you is kind of coming because we've been reaching out to as many resources as we can possibly reach out to about the wastewater treatment plant. EPA currently has a program where they fund various consultants who will help communities of our size kind of navigate high price tagged infrastructure projects in the water industry. So we talked to them about the wastewater project and they pretty much told us we checked all the boxes. We'd already pursued all the potential funding opportunities. But they had one recommendation and that was to try doing a value engineering assessment. So basically a third party engineer will come in, they'll look at our cost opinion, they'll look at the facility plan. And they'll just do a review to make sure that whatever the cost opinion is saying is in line, or if they see anything that maybe our current engineering consultant could use to make this project more efficient or facilitate a cost reduction, then they would provide that recommendation. So we reached out to Snyder and Associates because they do some of the work for our water distribution and our sewer conveyance system, as well as our stormwater as well. And they've been our on-call consultant for about 6 years. So we reached out to them. They provided a proposal of $7,500 to look over facility plan and pretty much work to date, including the cost opinion. And then they provide us with a memorandum of their findings. So we're asking council to do that. There would be a phase 2 if we were interested once findings come back, but that would be based on whatever council decides on what the findings say.
So what all is included in phase 1?
I have John Haldeman here from Snyder, so he can speak a little bit more on it, but basically, if I miss anything, John, add to it. It's the facility plan that was submitted to the DNR. They would take a look at that. They would take a look at the cost opinion and just look at the estimates that are being provided to make sure those are current with whatever the industry standard is. And then they look at the current process that we're going to be pursuing and provide us with any recommendations and their findings. Anything else?
There was a study too that was done in 2015, 16, if I'm not mistaken. That was something we're gonna look at too.
Okay.
I definitely think it, from some of the concern we've heard from the business community and hearing from residents and looking at the price tag that we've been presented with, I think this is a good idea in order to just take an overall look at, is it truly what we anticipate it's going to be? So I think even though I don't want to spend the extra money, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, well, it's not, it's a safety check for us.
For sure.
And it's not expensive compared to what we're spending.
Yeah. I'd move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. E,
Yes.
council memorandum for 2021 Second Street reconstruction project.
This one's kind of confusing.
Yeah,
You want to talk about it first, Daniel?
that might be them.
Yeah, Beatty was gonna.
Okay.
So, this one kind of has a couple options for you guys. I'm gonna go over change order number 6 first, because that one is one that we are gonna recommend the council move forward with. So basically, change order number 6 is the 2021 Second Street reconstruction project. Change in quantities. So what the engineers will do is they take their best guess as far as what the quantities are gonna look like in the field. And then at the end of projects, they'll go in and actually do the calculation on what was used in the field. So based on that quantity adjustment, change order number 6, it's on reduction of $98,507.81. Just based on that change order. So what that would lead to based on change orders 1 through 6 would be a cost reduction of $81,100.62 from the original contract price that you guys originally awarded. So we're just asking for council to accept change order number 6 and approve pay app number 14, which is the work that's already been done to date.
So we'll do that one and before we move on to the next lot then.
Yep, but then so if you guys are approved that, then it'll just depend on which resolution we'll move forward with. So if you guys have any questions on change order number 6, I can answer them now. Otherwise, we can move on to the,
Did you want to vote on that?
I think we'll
first?
vote on that piece, but then we can move on, because otherwise we'll get too messy. So staff recommends the city council adopt a resolution authorising the mayor to sign and execute a minimum change order number 6 and authorise pay app number 14. Additionally, city council has several options. That's about that. So we're just approving.
So consideration of change order 6 and pay app 14 is what you're looking at right now.
Option number 1 that's on the agenda.
Yeah, but why don't you wait until BD says
Yeah,
page order 7 and then you decide if you're doing option 1 or option.
yeah,
Yeah,
because we still got an optional. Yeah, I didn't realize that.
so historically, we've been in conversation about the street trees on Second Street and whether to add those back or not. So based on conversations that we heard from the last discussion, council wanted to kind of scale back on the number of trees per block and then also scale back on the number of blocks. And then there was discussion about potentially using bond proceeds. Staff didn't have any idea what bond proceeds were available at the time, but then at the end, there was discussion about utilizing volunteers and pursuing grants. So after receiving change order number 6 and seeing what the deduction looked like and then reviewing the available bond proceeds, current available staff time, just the benefits of pursuing a third-party contractor doing the installation, we went ahead and requested change order number 7, which has the cost estimate to install 43 trees in a 2.5 block between Beach Street and Overpass Drive. And that includes a 1-year warranty and all of the watering for that 1 year. It came out to be a little bit under 30,000. So even if you guys did proceed with change order number 7 from the original contract price with change order 1 through 7, you're looking at a deduction of $51,922 in savings from that original contract price. So there's that option to approve change order number 7 and number 6, or you can direct us to just continue moving forward with grant opportunities and then doing volunteer installation. But Snyder and Associates did come up with a landscape plan that was updated and the concept was included in your packet. And we did get rid of the hackberry trees.
One of the challenges if we still rely on pursuing grants is that the availability of the grants and how much are actually funded sometimes is not there. We recently applied for the Black Hills tree grant, and out of 5,000 that we requested, we only got 2,300. And so that the plan to rely on the grants will probably prolong how quickly we can plant the trees and get them all in place. The other downside to that is that the tree grants that we've applied for have historically been used for replacing trees that we've lost in the parks. And so you kind of have you're competing between the parks and the Second Street project for some of those grant dollars that would go towards the trees. We recently, the line department finished up cleaning up and taking down 52 trees at Kindleton Park alone that were either diseased and dead or had some sort of illness that needed to be removed. And so we have that in the back of our heads to also weigh. And if you still at least just wanted to have volunteers still plant them to have the cost savings associated with that, we estimated that it'd be under $9,000 to purchase the trees that have been outlined. And you can either pay with out of the bond proceeds or just our regular city funds to pay for those and then rely on volunteers to donate them. So that's why we outlined a couple different options for you at the end, seeking your guidance on which direction you want it to go.
I think we should go with number 7 because at least it's all lined up. It's there. It's going to get done.
I agree. I mean,
Not
the original vision was to have those trees in the one of the main arteries in our community. We took a lot out. We moved things around. Yes, they may become a nuisance in the future, and there's probably going to be costs associated to maintain them. But we moved forward the original plan years ago to have trees there. I agree. I think number 7 is the way to go.
We go with resolution option number 2.
so that I can make it the order.
It's like a spend for sure.
Megan wanted to plan all 50 trees or whatever it was, 23.
One more Friday.
Part of a wellness program.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
read that one.
So
So option 2 would be the one that includes figure 6, 7, and the payout.
So resolution option 2, authorizing mayor to sign and execute change order number 6. Approve pay application number 14 and sign and execute change order number 7 with Rask Construction Incorporated for 2021 Second Street reconstruction project.
To approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And that was a lot of writing there, just a little. Please. You weigh yourself out. don't you? Item F is resolution authorizing the street supervisor to seek bids and authorizing city manager to proceed with the lowest bidder for crack sealing and the amount not to exceed $100,000.
Yeah, so this goes back to the PCI report that I brought to council.
October of 21. I wasn't counting.
So one of the first things that I talked about there, was how falls happen and all that works. Well, the first thing, when it comes to sealing the crack, so you get a crack, first thing you need to do is seal it. Because nothing like what we're dealing with now, water gets down in there, penetrates down into the soil, the subbase, which creates potholes, phone calls. So I believe we do have a crack sealing machine in the budget from July 1. So this is one thing we want to get ahead of. And then in the future years, we want to get into doing some slurry seals, some micro surfacing. But first and foremost, we need to get a lot of these cracks that haven't been sealed up, so we can get these streets to last a little longer. So.
Well, it's a cheap fix for millions of dollars worth of roads. So,
Exactly. You put a little bit of money into it, you get early stages to make it last longer, or you put a lot of money in it down the road.
yeah,
So
$100,000 sounds like a lot.
It
But
does.
that we are talking millions of dollars worth of.
and once we get our own machines, we're obviously this will be a little more work for the street department, but we're capable of doing it. Be able to. Won't have this cost, so.
Okay. Thanks, Brandon.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item G is discussion and direction related to the 2022 City Council goal of reviewing and bidding out city trash services.
Hey there.
Your favorite subject.
So, this item is just in response to a goal that was outlined by council about revisiting the RFP for the recycling services. After reviewing the contract with the trash man, it does currently include municipal facility services, so city facilities are included in that. So if we do bid this out, it's going to need to be revisited as a whole package of trash services and recycling. So currently, we have the city facilities, we have the citywide residential recycling services. We have a drop-off site that's located off of Ohio City Yard, and Hamilton County does pay 50% of that. And then we have some community cleanup support where they pick up and haul off the roll-offs from that community. You guys have the slides in front of you as well, but the recycling materials currently accepted under the contract are, some of the plastics, newspaper, junk mail, paper board, tin and aluminum cans, clear glass, magazines, and then cardboard. I know you guys talked about potentially expanding services last time, so I wasn't exactly sure what additional materials you were wanting to see.
Does the current agreement specify what's picked up then?
Yep, I pulled all of these
Out of
right
that?
from the current agreement.
Okay,
No pizza box.
Well, the thing is, you know, pizza boxes is a big thing that a lot of community members reach out to us and say, well, why can't we recycle these? They're cardboard, and I understand it's a grease, but what can they even recycle? What do they have an outlet or a wholesaler for to take this material in this area? Like, do we know that? Like anything? It's like, even there's several plastics that aren't taken, you know.
You should take the- So people rip their pizza boxes and
It's rated.
they can. One half of the trucks.
I mean, I guess what I'm asking.
Really serious recyclers.
I guess what I'm asking is, before we even know what we can ask to be recycled, is what has,
Can he take it?
Yeah,
Like,
what-
is he allowed to recycle?
or he or any other service provider, because like, if there's no market for that recyclable product, like if say we want to recycle plastic number, I'm making this up, but plastic number 8, right, is like a big thing we want to recycle, but we can't do anything with plastic number 8 anywhere in the Midwest,
Capabilities.
wherever they say.
be part of
Their response.
response to.
Yeah.
They're saying, like, before we go, I want to recycle X, Y, and Z, and then we go out to bid and they go, well, we have nowhere to do that. You know, so that's.
Capabilities do they have at their facilities?
I think, like I said, I think that could be part of the response, and maybe it's like, well, we can also do these and it's gonna cost us more, so that would be part of the fee that we'd have to charge. Maybe this is really all they can do at this time based on, like you said, availability to either recycle it or fortunately ship it sometimes.
Yeah. Cause I'm curious, cause I hear there is like a market for recyclables in like other countries, but again, where we're at, is that feasible or even cost prohibitive to recycle that?
We can do some more research on that. And then the next slide talks about the current sites that are currently serviced by trash services.
I'll hold it up.
So these are the facilities that they're currently servicing based on an existing contract.
What do you mean? I mean, like, they do these for free or?
No.
No.
Right, so you're. So you're listing these just because it had to be renegotiated? Okay.
And the pool is only from May to September usually, or, you know, just the few months that they're open.
What we are asking on this one, whether
I won't feel like this is funny, but just
well, I think we'd go more on your thoughts and what we know.
Well, one recommendation from the community here all the time is not just one drop-off site for recycling. You know, you miss your day and you have that one spot, and if it's overflowing, you might as well just throw it in the river, you know, because it's just gonna blow away. So it's like, so if we have a couple more drop-off sites.
Was that recycling and garbage or just
No,
recycling?
that's just our garbage pickup.
This is just garbage.
That was just our.
That's right.
That's our bins outside.
Yeah, that was the confusion, I think, as we were talking about recycling. This is the garbage.
Sorry,
This is the city's
I
contract.
guess I'm just throwing that out there. Like, I think we should have more than one drop-off facility
Recycling.
for recycling.
so guidance that we're thinking on the services. For recycling services, currently they provide residential citywide. Currently, city facilities do not subscribe to recycling services. Is that something you would like to see?
Yes.
I'd like to see quotes on it, like what would it cost the,
But I
how
just
much
kind of,
extra would it be?
kind of shocking to me that we don't recycle at our city facilities. I mean, I didn't realize that. I thought we were.
Here at City Hall, we do, but I don't know any of the others you do.
I mean, we set out cardboard and plastic bottles and stuff when we have them and they take them.
And you guys have like a green bin, or what do you do? Or just you know what to do with it?
Yeah, it's the street department. We have a green bin and then.
Oh, okay.
we separate stuff and we take it to the actual.
Oh, the drop. I got you. Okay. Okay, so that's what I thought, because I know I've seen it. So I was kind of confused by it, but
Sporadically.
They just do it. It's not under contract. It's the service they provide around, already providing it.
yeah, I think it's, I mean, again, speaking for myself, and please chime in for a consensus, but I think it's ideal our community buildings would be recycling, and it would be part of the expectation of the trash provider to handle that recycle.
Trash services, currently they only do city facilities. Are you wanting to do a residential citywide trash agreement for solid waste?
I would mean.
Single.
And then some other add-ons that I saw in other communities agreements. Some of them have add-ons for bulky waste curbside services. Some of them have the yard waste. Others do Christmas trees pickup, and some have hazard.
I thought they did pick up Christmas trees. Oh.
And bulky waste isn't like, say I put a chair out there.
Yeah.
So right now I know they will. Like if you just throw like, I have a couple rental properties and like throw a couch out there and, you know, they'll just take it away. They'll tack it onto your bill though, you know,
Yeah.
but it's something you probably want to coordinate with them because again, the city will then.
Yeah, I think you have to call them.
Right.
Yeah.
But they'll do it for a tack on fee. And so I would like to make sure that's still in there. Again, just because it doesn't sit there and catch 3 rainstorms and then the city has a couch there. So they'll catch it, take it, and just deal with billing the person who set it out. Ideally, they take it on garbage pickup day, so it wouldn't sit out there more than 7 days.
So do you call them when you have something like that? You
I
just
think
set it out
They'll
and
take it and they'll call you.
Haven't done it.
Negotiated with. And they do give me an alternate bid for doing waste once a year. And then we'll do a community blanket promotion that says, hey, today the haulers can go around and pick up.
Back the way, back then.
So
Back in the way it was in the day, the city did it.
Oh, I thought that.
No, city employees went and picked it up. That's why we stopped it, because people would abuse it. So our citywide cleanup was a curbside cleanup, but it got, I mean, you guys were the ones out there picking it up, and it was like, you know, construction waste and stuff, you know, and more. So, yeah, I mean, if they had something like that to pepper in as like a I don't know, like a fringe benefit of their contract, like one day a year, they pick up couches and stuff, that'd be great. But I would just see if they would.
Think we need to focus on recycling and the trash, and any add-on, they want to say we can add these features would be fine, but as far as in my opinion, what we were looking at is recycling and trash.
Really? Because they don't handle yard waste at all, right?
No.
Yeah,
No.
right. But we as a community put a lot of time.
We have a
resources
free-
into a treat up.
We have a free place for them to drop stuff.
Can you put Christmas
Yeah, you
trees
can.
out there, live Christmas trees?
Oh.
The tree dump, right? Yeah, yeah, it's like the same thing as a tree, I mean. Some question, but I just want to make sure.
The first tree out there every year.
Yeah. It-
They love it every year. I take
Christmas
video.
morning, I heard it. I gotta get-
You don't put them out in the middle of the lake. Because you see them like an Independence, you come past there at the moment and there's Christmas trees all around the lake, you know, they set them out there ready for when it.
So we do that. All the trees. We say take all the on there.
Yeah.
So for the recycling, what is the pickup frequency you guys are looking at? So if they go with like a bigger tote that's got a lid similar to like a solid waste bin, are you still wanting to see that weekly pickup?
Yeah,
Yes, yeah,
Weekly pickup.
I do.
well,
I
depends
like
how,
to recycle.
depends how big of a bin we're talking, but if it's, I know like every week that green bin is grossly undersized for a decent sized phone. You know, like a middle, I mean,
There's about to be in front of you.
if you're serious about recycling, that green bin just isn't quite big enough. So if we went to a bi-weekly thing, the bin would have to be at least 3 or 4 times bigger than it is now to actually not be like just, you know, you're playing Tetris with all your cardboard
I
stuff.
think like the city of Fort Dodge is the same size as the trash. It's like
It is,
96 gallons, so it holds a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't think, yeah, it'd be really tough. It'd be an expensive piece to have them pick that up weekly.
Well, the thing is,
It's
that is,
96 gallons.
they just dump it in, don't they? And then they sort someone else. They take it to a sort facility. Where here, our current provider sorts on your curb. You're right, you know, like they take the tote and they sort on the curb.
Size of.
Well, I guess you could get a price for either one of them. We get to pick,
Yeah,
So what would
good
it-
point. Yeah, just like what would it take to do it?
because I think we're gonna get a sticker shock anyway, so.
That's what I was
See what
about
the
getting
bill-
quotes. I want to see how much it would be for weekly and. Mhm. Or, yeah,
And size options.
yeah.
The green buckets, yeah.
I know one of my other communities, they just did this RFP for it. It was, yeah, you had an option. They're all 96 gallon boats still. It's just a green one or whatever color it was. And then they did, yeah, bid it at bi-weekly and weekly. Not idea what it was, but no, they just did it for the same contractor we're under.
Like currently building is done with the city, did you guys still want that to happen? Holler bill for private services?
But yeah, so the utility folks pay for that fee, right, on the utility bill of the recycling fee. And then you choose to either have a bin or buy the bags.
No, that's the backs of the
Bag
trash.
The trash is not under
The
utility.
problem would be that if, so would less people do recycling if it wasn't on their bill?
100%.
So so if you do take it off the bill, then you're gonna have hardly anybody recycling because they're gonna want to save the money, so. That's the problem you're gonna.
But one thing that's not clear on the billing side, is for some of the multifamily units. You don't have the green bins right now per apartment or per dwelling.
Say that again.
They don't.
For multifamily, not all of them, or you don't see them on
Well,
there.
they can, because on it, well, that's,
They all are,
yeah.
each have individual.
I mean, they
bills,
can,
They all get
a lot of people didn't have them, but they can. I mean, they can all have them if they wanted them, but.
So I'm hearing keep the billing in-house. Okay,
Well, I think otherwise you're gonna, it's not gonna work. Good point. Yeah.
some other communities have asked for customer service to be provided. Some communities have designated office hours, like, hey, we want you to be open from 8 to 5 Monday to Friday. We want to know what procedures you take when customers are complaining. And then the bulky waste pickup service, you can tie that in identity for the community, but it doesn't have to be a requirement for them to provide it. It could just be, it's a plus for us in the RFP, so I can make it where it's not a requirement, but it's desired for them to do that.
Yeah.
Do you guys want the customer service hours to be 8 to 5 or 7 to 3:30, or do you care?
I don't think it really matters.
And
I think we're gonna field most of the customer service calls. If we change this, but. Not voluntarily, I mean, I'm saying it's just gonna happen. Apparently, but like right now, our current provider. Or options, our current provider have contract, and there's other options there, but. They have at least a phone line to call, and they have people in the offices. I don't know if it's a requirement.
We could just go to the container slide. So we talked about the pickup, but is there a minimum size you are wanting to see as far as containers go with a lid? Cause I know the 96 gallon totes are the standard size, but do you wanna see a minimum? Would half that size be your minimum?
Bigger than what we have now.
Pretty broad.
Well, I mean,
If
I
they're,
mean,
if
I
they're-
wouldn't wanna redo all this if we don't have a more robust cycling. Option.
and if you have someone provide a proposal that is the same size we have now, please don't put a lid on it, because
Right.
it won't fit. It
So
needs to be the bigger.
are you
The
saying
lid
like,
was one of the concerns, right? We wanted the lid for
If
future.
it's a bigger container, yes, that'd be nice.
are we also like talking though, like like we can choose between that, and then how would the billing work for that then?
I think it would be.
You're
more-
just saying.
It's just one option?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, there's an example from St. Paul, Minnesota, the 3 different recycling container sizes they offer. To give you perspective, 96 is what currently green or red bins that are out there right now.
You
I
know,
think any of these options, I think 32 would be the smallest I'd like to see, but I think they're all.
I mean, just request prices for each size.
yeah,
well, and again, you can almost build a matrix. I'm sure these
Well,
people can build a matrix of like, okay, if we go to the 90, we do it every 2 weeks.
well, with the recycling though, with it being billed through City Hall, it would be a lot, since this isn't something that you're gonna go in individually in and
No.
we're
but
gonna
you
have a
can tell
blanket
us what the
fee,
price
we're gonna have a
would be.
blanket fee like we do now, but otherwise you're gonna be individually billing each place and say, oh, they get a small bin, this one gets.
But they can provide an option of. We can do the bigger carts every other week, we can go the middle size weekly. They can give you what they want to propose based on. the
Yeah,
size of-
that would be if
we
we
just
got.
don't wanna
I
raise.
think we picked one, but we just wanted to which.
Cost.
Yeah. That'd be the right.
Now, when it comes to storage of the bins, if you go with like a 96 gallon cart, and their current code doesn't permit them to be, they've got to be secured and stored properly, so just some consideration when you're looking at the size in the future. As far as storage for the people who do use them. Contract terms,
I think if we
I
got,
think we should allow bags,
on that,
cause
you want to
someone,
continue to allow bags.
I think so. It's like, some people don't have a need for that big 96 gallon trash bin.
I agree. There's a lot of the makeup of our community is a single income, retired income,
Mhm.
and sometimes even just a single person in a home.
Yeah.
And they may go through a bag every 2 to 3 weeks,
Mhm.
you know. So to mandatorily make them take a service that may be 3 or 4 times more than what they're currently doing, which is maybe like $3 a week or 2 weeks in one of the bags. I think that would be kind of hard, especially all the other rate increases we're doing. So
Mhm.
if there's not a bag system, at least I want there to be some type of retiree or fixed income or low income rate option. Because otherwise there's really no way to control that on a
No,
fixed income.
But also if you're an older person, they have trouble getting those carts out,
yes,
Oh, yeah.
so
I think we should continue to allow bags.
I do too.
So the contract was originally approved as a 5-year contract. Is that still the contract term you want to see?
well, unless they come back and think that 10 years is gonna get us a better deal or something.
Usually 5 years, a standard, but I've seen.
Yeah. But if somebody thought we'd get a better deal if we did a 10-year, then I guess it's worth looking at, but.
We talked about billing responsibilities. Currently, we do have a 10% fuel surcharge that started in 2008 on our solid waste pickup for the city facilities. Is that something the council would continue to entertain on a new contract?
So that surcharge was tacked on because of fuel cost changes in 2008. Right, so it's
And it was
basically
never-
like,
And it was never taken back off
Right.
when,
But there shouldn't be a 10.
It shouldn't be.
There shouldn't be a 10%.
the 10% surcharge is like a tack on because of gasoline hike. So I don't think it should be current day cost of doing this with current day fuel cost. And in the future, if they want to negotiate a surcharge, we can.
I was gonna say, a lot of them have it in there, well. They either build in that allowable every year to go up a certain amount, so we don't see a lot of fuel surcharges. We do see some that are fuel surcharges, we see a lot that are like. Every year they have the right to raise the price by CPI or if it gets way out of hand, they have the right to get out of the contract, they have a force majeure clause in there, so. This fuel surcharge, we haven't seen as much because when you're bidding the contract out, they're bidding it in at the current, like you said, their current rate today. So they know what the fuel costs, they know what their costs are. But you will see people, I mean, on all of them, you'll see on all the RFPs that you get back, they'll say this amount plus 3% or CPI every year, because 10 years from now, the cost will be substantially different.
Well, yeah, I'm not opposed to it, but yeah, it's just not just built in for sure 10% every year. It should not be it, but whatever they throw in, they throw in. But I mean, we could say no to.
Well, it was bought in when diesel was at $5 a gallon.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to see a fuel surcharge, but I do think you're gonna have to expect
Sure.
an increase because wages are gonna go up. Every other expense, when they have to buy a new bin every year, when yours gets broken, all that stuff.
Recycling outreach and education, we currently do all of the promotions for the recycling service. We get credited $3,600 per year from the hauler based on the contract, but recently with the price increases, we have been spending about $3,900 a year. Do we want to continue to be the ones advertising for the recycling service? Or do we want to put that on the new hauler?
It's, I mean, it gives them advertising at the same time, I mean. They should be reaching out.
Continue to be on the advertisement for recycling.
they advertise on KQWC and in the Freeman Journal. I think there's an ad that runs once a week. And I can't remember how many spots
I think it was like 48.
in a month's time that they do. It's the same ad over and over, but
What's the benefit? Okay, I'm trying to do the economic study on this here. So if they're advertising to recycle, is it to reduce how much pounds of waste they have to then bring to the landfill? Because if the recycling customers are mandatory, is it something that we should make them do to encourage people to recycle to keep a community cleaner? Or is it helping them because it's less poundage they got to pay for at the landfill? So I don't know what's that doing?
What they accept, what materials they will accept, that kind of education and outreach versus just a promotional.
Yeah, because we're doing the advertising, but we don't know what the job is. So we don't know what it is to recycle. So we got the wrong people really doing the advertising.
if things change, they haven't been real good about letting us know, so that we can notify the press and the radio to remove that item.
I think that it needs to be in there, that it has to be part of the contract that they do advertising, because you don't want them to drop it just because we're not in charge of it.
When I was in Urbandale, I remember on our recycling bin, they had right on there a big sticky that was on there that it literally covered everything that was recyclable and what's not. And they had like little pictures of it, like, don't put your pizza box, so there's an X through it. And then, so, I mean, you're gonna know. And if they change it, they're gonna put a new sticky on it when they pick up your driveway or recycling. Yeah, like,
Someone graffitied mine, I can't read it anymore.
well, that's what I mean. They gotta replace it. It's each color to go within.
Like this is before kids are running around, yeah, kids up, they run around.
I just remember it was slapped right on top because I'd always look at it to see what I could throw.
You always checked it, see, you're a good person.
Well, mainly that's so I could see what I could throw in.
something educational on what materials are directly on the bins, you can do that.
Yeah.
I have a question. If we go with the bins, like what does it look like? You just give a bin to every single person? What if they don't recycle and then just? Or like how would that work? And
Can
I
the person
also,
decline a bin and not
I-
have to pay that?
I'd also like to know what happens to the bin when a person moves, because that's not a very clear process now. And if we're gonna get another
So
bin,
expensive.
it's like pulling teeth.
I'm just afraid what.
So what happens when you have these larger bins and a person moves in? They take the bin with them, or like what, like a clear plan for that?
I can have that spelled out in the RFP where they give us that process. On lost or stolen bins or.
Right.
bins.
I know one of the other ones we've seen come through, they give you the first bin, and then if you lose or it's stolen or whatever within a certain period of time, then you're as a homeowner responsible for it. And they build that right into it, and it says it's X number of dollars, $80 or whatever it is.
I think that now, very clear, like. And does it follow you? Does it stay at your house if you move? It's supposed to stay at your house.
And if it's not there, you're supposed to be able to go get one free the first time.
Right.
And then,
They're gonna need somebody to go around and clean them out too, go around cleaning. It's in the big city.
Sucks.
Yeah,
it's like a mix it up.
So do you want to go with?
It's like a-
Any other questions before?
Thank you, BD.
You want to move on? Man, I thought we talked about garbage for a little. H, resolution authorizing the mayor to sign a grant agreement between the city of Webster City and the Webster City Daycare that provides $18,375 grant to assist the meeting the childcare needs in the community.
This was a council agreed or had recommended to increase what they had provided last year. He provided $10,000 to the daycare for their needs. With the remodel project and the county providing 28,000. And this would match what the county is giving. Additional 18,375 to combine the 10 from last year.
Sounds good. I moved to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Item 4, city manager.
City manager.
City attorney, sorry.
I don't want that job. So daycare has obviously been a hot topic item. We've been covering a lot of that lately. Next steps, Lisa's, obviously you guys approved that tonight. Next steps, waiting for the survey to be completed on the water tower. Then we'll be working on additional paperwork for this transfer the ownership and sell essentially the playground area to the daycare.
I'll buy the water tower.
And the water tower, that's their responsibility to be up.
100%.
Thank you, Megan, for taking care of our water. We've got all the necessary easements and acquisition documents for the Fair Meadow Drive road construction project that'll be coming down the pipe. So now city staff is going to be going around and obtaining all those necessary signatures to either acquire portions of the property and or to take easements out. And then we were asked to revise the professional service agreement that the city uses on various different projects throughout town that goes on a normal basis. So we've done that and provided that as well. So all exciting things. Yeah, I'm sure you guys were all thrilled to hear that.
We're all thrilled. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
We look forward to next month's.
Professional service agreement.
Okay. So we're going to go into closed session, meet in closed session to discuss strategy with council and matters that are presently in litigation or where litigation is imminent, where its disclosure would likely be to prejudice or disadvantage the position of the governmental body in that litigation as provided by chapter 21.5C in the Code of Iowa.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So thanks, everybody. We're going to go into closed session next.